Hey guys, I'm Jameson with Rogue Engineer, and this week we're going to show you how we built an ice rink in our backyard, outfitted with a bunch of accessories to make sure everybody has a good time. Okay, so when it came to building the rink, it was very simple construction. The main thing is making sure that you find a nice flat piece of ground. If you have a laser or access to a laser, that's the best way to figure out how much drop you have on one end of the rink versus the other, and make sure that you're not going to end up with 2 feet of ice on one side and 5 inches of ice on the other. So we ended up using 2x6s down at this end and then 2x8s at this end. And then these rods are what went into the ground, and that's what holds the sides of the rink upright. And these are just simply concrete formed stakes. They have a pointed end, and they've got some pre-drilled holes that you can secure the sides to the stakes with. Once we had the rink laid out, we made sure everything was nice and square by measuring from one corner to the next and making sure that both diagonals were the same length. Once that was the case, we hammered our stakes in, we set the sides up and screwed those in place. I've got these boards up. We put these Simpson Strong Tie brackets just to join them together and keep them even. And then we unrolled our liner and put the liner over top of the whole rink and filled it with water. And this is what happens when you leave the hose outside with water in it. It's frozen. I don't think we're going to be able to fill this up very quickly with this hose. The liner is actually like a 6 mil to 8 mil and as high as 10 mil plastic sheeting. And you can get that plastic sheeting at the hardware store. However, we had a bigger rink than what the hardware store carries in stock. I think they go up to like 20 or 28 feet wide. So if you've got a rink that's going to be a smaller size, you can just pick that up at the hardware store. Otherwise, we found the best deal to be on eBay. It was free shipping and it got here within a few days. So we'll make sure to link that up below or in the blog post. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and build the main box now, and to do so, we're gonna build it out of 2x8s because we had some of those laying around. However, 2x6s would work just as well. Now we've got two 8-foot long boards here, and we're gonna make one cut at each at 6 feet. Then we're gonna have two 6-foot pieces and two 2-foot pieces, and the 6-foot pieces are gonna be our back and our top, and then the 2-footers are gonna be our sides. Okay, so now I've got the sides stood up straight and the back as well, and I'm just gonna attach the back to the sides with 2.5-inch wood screws, and then we'll set the top right across the front of this and screw that down, and we'll have the main box will be set. Okay, so this is the basic goal, and this is great if you're going to have a goalie. However, sometimes you don't have a goalie or you don't have enough guys to make up a team with goalies. So what we want to do is we want to make a removable goalie that can be pulled in and out as needed. So we're going to make a box that's going to leave a 1-foot opening on both sides. So it's going to be a simple box that's going to be, the sides are going to be 7.5 inches wide, and then the front of it is going to be about 45 inches, which will give us that 12-inch opening on both sides. Okay, so I've got the box and I've got our goalie, and now what I'm gonna do to make it kind of temporarily fit in there is I'm gonna take these two scrap pieces of wood and I'm gonna screw them to the bottom of this top plate. That way, when the top plate sets on the goalie, it kind of locks it in place right where it's supposed to be, and then it won't move, and it'll give us those nice equal 1-foot openings on both sides. Okay, so we finally got some really cold temperatures. As you can see, plenty of snow, and we were able to get out here, and the ice was thick enough to get some full-grown adults on here. Once we started slinging pucks at these things, I quickly realized that the goals were not fastened together tight enough. Whenever you screw into the end grain, it really reduces the amount of holding power that screw has, and those screws just weren't big enough. Ideally, you would want to go ahead and purchase some 90-degree angle brackets so then you could get into the side of the board. However, I had some really long 4-inch ledger board timber screws from Simpson Strong Tie that I use, and they beef this thing up nice and strong. So every once in a while we have some less experienced skaters come out here, and I wanted to build a trainer for them. I actually found this design on Popular Mechanics, and it's just a simple, made out of PVC, really easy to put together. So I'm gonna link to Popular Mechanics where I got this design from. However, they were lacking some of the dimensions and a parts list, so I'm gonna put that together for you, and that'll all be included in the blog post. So when I was looking on the internet for a simple Zamboni or a Homeboni, whatever you want to call it, this is basically an ice resurfacer where once the ice gets nice and chewed up, then you can go over it with some water and smooth that surface out and get nice, clean, fresh ice again. And I found this design on a blog. However, there wasn't much of an instruction there or tutorial, so I will put together, once again, a parts list for this on my blog. But it's a simple design. I've got a brass swivel fitting up here that goes from PVC to the hose. The hose connects to the hot water heater, and then this is all PVC. I've got a valve here that I can control the water pressure coming out of it so that we can lay a nice thin layer of water. Then the towel is zip tied to the T at the end, which has a bunch of holes drilled in it and lets that water flow over the towel and give me a nice even coat of water over top of the ice. Hey, you gotta have a helmet on.